had to stand up for myself and advocate for myself many times over the past 20-something years of my career. And it is uncomfortable for me, but one thing that's helped me is realizing that by doing so, sometimes I've been able to clear the way for other people behind me. So I'll give you an example of one place where I worked, that I won't tell you which place it was. It's a place you've all heard of. And it was this one department, and there were men and women in the office. And when I went to visit for the first day, I realized all the men had rooms they sat in with doors and windows, and all the women, regardless of their level, their contribution, how sensitive information they had to work, they worked in cubicles. 100% of the men had offices, 100% of the women were in cubicles. And so they showed me to my cubicle on my first day, and I said, I don't think that I can work here and do what you want me to do. Well, this is your place. We don't have another room for you. And it's very, sometimes it's hard to come across as strong and at the same time not a word that rhymes with witchy. And it's one of those times that I thought, I need to do this to get my work done. I need to get an office to get my work done. And if I don't do this now, the woman who had my job before, she sat down in the cubicle when they told me to sit down in the cubicle. Anyway, I never put my tushy in the chair in the cubicle, ever. I said, oh, there's a closet over there with a table in it. They call it the conference room. It was a storage closet with a window, but 2 feet outside the window, there was another building. Not 2 feet, like 10 feet or something. And there was another building. So it had a view of just brick, nothing but brick. And they used it as a closet, and I said, I'll just go sit in that conference room. Well, we need the conference space for lots of things. I said, go ahead. While we're talking about this, while we're working this out, that's where I'll be. And every day when I went there, took my laptop and I went in there. And eventually, they started clearing some of the boxes out of there, cleaning up the closet. And after a couple of years, the institution where I worked knocked down the building next door, and suddenly I had this view, this incredible view, and I just stayed there. And when my successor came, when I left, I said to her, make sure that you have this office. You cannot do this job in a public place. And she did. She held on to it for a while, and I'm very sad to tell you that she is now back in a cubicle, because they moved her, and still again now, 100% of the women in cubicles and 100% of the men around. And they did not acknowledge it when I would talk to them. The executives who were, not all of them, I was one of them, but the other executives who were men and were in the position to determine where people sat, they wouldn't say that had anything to do with sexism. No, it doesn't. It's coincidence. So this has turned out to be a longer story, but I think it was hopefully vivid for you. So if you have to advocate for yourself and it's a difficult situation and you know that you're right in terms of needing to get what you need to do a job, whether that's pay or whether that's where you're going to sit, think of me very politely refusing to. And I never said, I'm never going to go sit in there. I never said that out loud. I was just thinking that to myself. Think of me not going and sitting down in that chair and instead going, I'll just be over here, until eventually they got used to me. And I was there for many years in that office with what turned out to be a lovely view.